Hello, this is Felix from howtopracticedrawing.com, and in this video you're going to learn a simple trick to draw noses realistically and at the same time beautifully and well designed. So what I'm going to show you now is a simple exercise you can do at home with me while I'm doing this drawing that teaches you how to draw noses that are both anatomically correct and at the same time have a beautiful design flowing through it. So you might think that to draw a realistic nose, you just need to learn about the anatomy and render it perfectly constructed step by step. And all of that is great advice. But what I noticed once I started studying master paintings by famous painters, in this case, Jules Bastien-Lepage, is that they actually designed these features. They didn't just create anatomically correct drawings. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to essentially do master copies of 3 noses from Jules Bastien-Lepage, 2 of him, and then later one of William-Adolphe Bouguereau. And while I'm doing these studies, I will take notes of some of the lessons that I learned about how these master painters have designed noses. And I think you'll find this very insightful and very interesting. And there will be a couple of design lessons that we can extract from these master paintings. I'm going to use this page because here the nose is a bit bigger, even though there's a headline on top. But I think it will also help you see what I'm drawing. So what you're starting to see here as you draw is that actually Bastien-Lepage had a very simple design in mind when he drew this nose. So you might see it in my drawing, but essentially there's one big sphere in the middle. And from that, he kind of touches the little nostrils below. Like that. And this nostril here is essentially this little bent shape. And then it tapers up there. So that is really helpful because you can remember this lesson the next time you draw a nose. You know, especially if it's a bigger one of a male like here. Essentially, you have the start of the construction with a sphere shape, and then you can build these around the little nostrils, and then have the nose bridge run off that. And now I'm going to go and try and render it a bit further. All right, that's as far as I'm going to take it in this little study. As you can see, when you study noses from master paintings, it's actually difficult to just draw the nose without indicating a little bit the values around the nose, where the cheeks are and the eye sockets and the eyebrow, and the cornerstone between the eyebrows and the mouth. And the reason why is because the nose is a bunch of subtle forms from the sphere moving down to this area here, and without this context it's actually very hard to properly see the nose and have it feel like it comes off the page, because if you don't, for example, make this area here darker, this whole sphere will feel like a bit flat. So that's why I indicated a little bit the eyes, eyebrows, mouth, etc., and cheeks. I don't want to get that much into it because I'm in the end interested in studying the nose in this master study. I learned quite a few things. So, for example, I learned that Bastien-Lepage designed it with a sphere in mind, and then he added those little nostrils at the bottom. And what's also interesting is that the edge here on this side is broken, and you can see that it's a bit like this. You have kind of a sharp edge, then it's lost, then it's there, then it's found, and then it's like this. So it's like this lost and found hard and soft edge essentially here on the nose. A bit more of a harder one, and it's broken. Then where the tip is, you have a little area, and then down here again. And this lost and found quality to this nose obviously creates even more the illusion of depth. And it's not that easy to get actually, because there's like a lot of subtlety in this area. I could probably spend even more time on it, but for now I'm going to leave it at that. And let's go to the next nose. Okay, another painting by Bastien-Lepage, and in this case the nose is probably a little bit more simple to draw than this one, because in this one we had to build up a lot of subtle form shifts to actually get the impression of the nose. While this one, because he's a little bit downward facing, has just a very strong shape design and a few planes, and I think we can get it feeling of a nose very quickly. So let's get into it, and then I will mention a few things we can learn from studying this nose. Okay, so what are some design lessons we can take from drawing this nose? First of all, this nose compared to this one is much more heavily designed with shapes and lines. This one, it was a lot of subtle form gradations. In this one, you can probably notice the pattern. Almost the whole design of the nose stands by this little shape and line mix of the bottom plane of the nose. So it's almost just that already gives you the whole feeling of the nose. Two very different noses, and it's always interesting to see what these different approaches are to drawing the nose. Obviously, you know, this is a painting that probably took many hours for him to render, so you can't always in these studies get to a perfect finish and try and copy it exactly. But as long as you do a good effort of 20-30 minutes, you will probably pick up quite a few of the solutions and learn a lot from that. So let's get to our next nose of William-Adolphe Bouguereau. So when drawing this nose by Bouguereau, you can see that almost the entire nose design lies on the design of the contour from the eyebrow all the way down to the nose, and then it flows into this very simple little nose shape at the bottom, and that is basically already the whole nose. Obviously now you can refine different little parts of it, refine the contour accuracy and the shapes, and add a bit of shadow at the bottom. Essentially the design is what we just saw already, so there's not that much to even add here. But yeah, I think I'm going to actually leave it like that, because I think you get the point, and that is basically how you extract design solutions by doing these master studies. And in this case, we learned a bunch of stuff around noses. Sometimes it makes sense to construct them, with a sphere, slowly render them up, and kind of have these little shapes flow from it. At other times, the noses might be extremely shape and line driven, like in this case here. And then other times it might just be one flowing contour with a little shape at the bottom that already gives you the impression of the nose. That really is one secret trick to realistic drawing that took me a long time to understand, is that actually the design creates the realism. So you might think, oh, I have to render every little part of the drawing perfectly anatomically correct, etc. But when you actually look at the master paintings, you realize there's a lot of simplification going on here still. Some of the shapes are very clear to read. They're not perfectly rendered all the time. Even the bottom of the nose, you see kind of this occlusion shadow in the nostril, then the form shadow here. And it's actually these simplifications of reality that here in the end very realistic, but actually they are simplifications down to the essential parts that really create this illusion of realism, and design really is a big part of it. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this lesson. If you did, please hit the subscribe button. It really helps my channel grow and helps me make more videos. If you'd like to learn more about it, check out the description of this video. I have a few free gifts for people who join my newsletter. There are also a few courses on my website that teach you this and much more in a much more structured way. So if you're interested in any of that, check it out, and thanks for watching. Until next time.